In order for you to be happy, you would need the perfect universe.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that would be nice.
But that would be true if the goal, if the end game, if you will, of the world was in the world.
So, Francis, thank you for your teaching last week. That really helped me a lot. So, today I have another question. So when I try to investigate this desire for security within me, I come to a dead end, so to speak. It is to my belief that my happiness, it is dependent um, on the universe to align in a specific way. So for example, I can close myself in the room and I'm very sure that I will be at peace. Of course, I will need food and water. That's okay. But when I go out to my job, and we have a kinderkrippe at the ground floor, and I press for the elevator and I'm waiting, and I see a mother and a child. The mother is dropping the child at the kinderkrippe. The child is crying and holding on to the mother, and I can sense the pain of the mother, of the impending separation, and the child is holding on to the mother, and I can sense their their pain and their yeah. So that's real joy and happiness, right? And that comes because the universe aligned in a way that I was waiting for my elevator to go to that job, and the child was crying. So, so the desire for security essentially is because I continue to feel that my happiness is dependent on the universe, and universe does not allow me to sign a long-term lease where I can say that please have me in that experience all the time. So there's no long-term lease.
There you. In order for you to be happy, you would need the perfect universe.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that would be nice.
But that would be true if the universe and the body were, if the goal, if the end game, if you will, of the world was in the world. But the world is doomed.
It's a beautiful world.
You know, if you take a great painters, take Rembrandt, his models are never handsome or pretty. He just makes beauty out of something which is not that pretty. So, because they see the beauty somewhere else. And they share with us the beauty they see somewhere else. And that's their art. So it's the same here. The world is an ugly model. You are the painter. You have to see the beauty in it. Be the Rembrandt of the world.
Thank you, Francis.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Francis. Hi, everyone. I'm particularly struck by what you just said about the world as an ugly model and you're the Rembrandt. That's striking. Thank you. You also, I was holding a question that I want to come back to. And you had said this kind of stopped me, and that was that the phenomenal is the body of God, and the noumenal is the consciousness of God, and that struck me. And the next thought I had is, those are not two things, are they? It seems like that's just one thing.
Yes. Just like your body and your consciousness is in your mind, if you will.
Okay. So the question I was holding is an echo of what John and Tara had brought up, and especially regarding annoyance and ignorance. And I was in the grocery store this afternoon, and I was truly in a spirit of inquiry for whatever reason. So there was a heightened sense of, let's call it intimacy, or arising. And do you know what I'm talking about when I say that?
What do you want me to say?
Okay. So it was just different than my usual, more mechanical way of seeing the grocery store. So nonetheless, maybe because I haven't been getting a lot of sleep or been skiing too hard, etc. Just kind of a grumpy feeling in the body.
Man, you're retired. You're not flying any longer.
I'm making up for it, you know. So yeah. So what I noticed is that there was some of this trigger that we had discussed, and it was clearly ignorance, because there was no ignorant behavior coming my way. It was just there was just some reaction to, maybe, I don't even know how somebody's posture, or how they were dressed, or how the light was falling. It was just ridiculous. But in the space of intimacy and inquiry, what I noticed is that no blame was assigned. There was no blame being assigned. And it was simply like just another arising, the same as the pile of apples or the pile of lemons, this annoyance. It was just an arising in the space. And I kind of wondered, is that concomitant? Is that concomitant with being in the spirit of inquiry? A, and B, really my interest was in having a more delightful, blissful, peaceful experience, but the experience of the body was not going to provide that. So it was like, okay, I'll take this, you know?
You know, the spirit of inquiry is not at odds with the experience of intimacy, quite the opposite. It naturally leads there.
Yes.
It's just like
I'm thinking it was,
like we are in having a dialogue like this. We are constantly focusing on the self, you know, on consciousness, and as a result, it leads us to the experience of intimacy. There is a different flavor to this meeting than to a meeting of the, I don't know, of some political party or some fan club of some celebrity. And the secret is there. It's just that we are there and we are constantly reminding ourselves of this reality, of this awareness. So there are the words, and then there is something else that transpires, which is we cannot put the finger on. There is a beautiful Rumi poem beautifully translated by Coleman Barks. He translated it as "what we have now," or something like that. So, for those who are listening, what we have now. The perfume. The intimacy.
So in line with that, I guess I think my question is, when there is this in-touchness, and there is this intimacy, is it then too much to ask for there to be peace and happiness, bliss, if there is not?
Well, in true intimacy there is peace. We have some disruption here. I'm going to mute everybody. No, okay, seems to have disappeared. The peace comes almost, I don't know, was insidiously. We don't know when it came, how it came, and at some point you realize it's here.
Is it consistent to say that there's intimacy with the arising of annoyance?
I don't want to revisit really this issue, but
I mean, is it a contradiction?
yeah. When the shadow obstructs the light, or when an object obstructs the light and projects a shadow, is there still light? Yes and no. There is still light, just obstructed. And the reason why there is a shadow is because there is light casting it. You miss flying?
You know, sometimes I do, yeah. So, at first, no, it just seemed like they hadn't called. But then I thought, the phone hasn't rung for 4 years.
In a little plane, like a an L-18 Piper?
Sometimes, but those little planes can be scary, you know?
You're used to comfort, that's a problem.
Yes, it's a problem, yeah.
Okay, Bill. Good talking to you.
Francis, a question about the contractions in the body that refer to ignorance.
It's not just contraction, it's patterns of behavior, it's dynamic, it's not just a contraction here that doesn't let go.
Yes, even maybe some body positions or certain movements.
If we fear fear inside,
yes,
the body will present itself to external observers in a very different manner. We are not aware of it, you see. But that is picked up by bystanders.
So there is is there a way, let's say, of noticing these patterns, these positions, and the question that I had in mind: how does that relate to also noticing this sweet sense of being me, this sort of background sense of this draw to I'm somebody, some sort of something.
Yes, finding the child in us, finding our innocence. Because if we see the child in us, we see the child in others. You see, and then there is this connection.
So is seeing the child in us also being presence, or presence itself?
Yes. Listening, trying to understand the truths, where somebody else is coming from, and also what we feel is right and what we feel is true, what we feel is loving.
And being interested in...
Yeah, being of goodwill.
Thank you, Francis.